festival. You are listening to SGFR, podcast radio for the festival. Now broadcasting highlights and top picks, your tasty, tantalizing tease for this coming year.
Welcome back, everybody. And this week, it is a joy to talk with Jake. Jake has never been, I'm going to throw you under the bus, Jake. Jake has never been to one of our festivals. I know Jake from Thursday night's Brighton Pub Boardgamers regular event at our campo. And it's a joy to have you here, Jake. Plus, you bring in a different kind of perspective. Would you like to tell us about Thursday nights and your involvement in gaming?
Yeah, so I guess I'll give a bit of background in that when it came to board gaming, I kind of rediscovered my love for it during the COVID lockdown when we were still living in Birmingham. And moving down to Brighton about 2.5 years ago was where I started going to like regular meetups, so I'm actually playing in person, so that was good, and that was through the Brighton Pub Board Gamers. Originally it was just the Sundays, but then started going to the Thursday games as well, and It's a lovely crowd. We're a good friendly lot. We meet in the Campo lounge near Dice Saloon, and I like to try new games out there, introduce people to games. I'm very fond of teaching games. I've got quite a few accolades for it. I'm quite pleased with how well I teach games now. Yeah, it's a good time.
Cool. You're clearly a good person to know. Any favourite games? Any games that you actually really like teaching people to play, that you really enjoy watching them go on the journey of discovery and learning?
Oh, interesting. So my very favourite game is Spirit Island. I'm a huge Spirit Island fan. I've got all the content for it at home. Just picked up the digital version because it's on sale. But it can be a bit of a tricky teach in person. I think I'm more interested in the ones that are good for people getting into the hobby or people who are less experienced. Because, if you're teaching to someone who is very familiar with games, you can pick up a game and say it's a word placement game, these are your resources, these are the spots, and that'll go smoothly. I'm thinking of something like for teaching less experienced people, something like First Rat, which is a lovely little game where you're moving your rats along a track, trying to gather various resources and cheese to get to the moon made of cheese. It's got an adorable little theme that's really welcoming to new people, and it's got that interesting level of complexity of it isn't just a really bog standard simple game. There are decisions to be made, but it's not punishing in like sort of like some of the heavier Euro style games where there are lots of really hard and tough decisions to be made around resources. So you get a little bit of that interesting decision, but also it's approachable enough for new people. And I've had some really good experiences of like onboarding people with that game and them having a good time moving rats about, getting cheese, getting little superpowers. It's a good fun one.
What's the superpower a little rat can get?
Oh, they've got some really fun ones. So basically, the whole theme is that you're wrapped in a junkyard and you read about the moon made of cheese, so you want to go there. And one of the ways you read about that was in comic books. And you can, over the course of the game, you can get little comic book pages which give you various superpowers, like they let you go through some of the shortcut tunnels for free, or they'll maybe let you get, I think there's one that lets you move a bit further with the rats. And then my favourite one, because it's just so amusingly thematically, is whenever you're moving your rats in the game, you have to move them all to the same coloured spot. And there is one of the powers you can get, which is colour blindness, and for you, red and green spots count as the same.
Gotcha, yes. So you get more movement. Now, I understand you're actually going to come along to this year's camp out, to
Yes.
which I say brilliant and welcome, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you there as well. Are there any particular games, like, for example, the Spirit Island that you just mentioned, that you're really champing at the bit to bring along and introdoctrinate, encourage to
One of
draw
those
people
words.
into playing?
Yeah, so I'll probably be bringing a chunk of my collection with me to play along, and there's various that, yeah, I think it'd be great to play. I probably won't actually bring Spirit Island because I'm a little precious over my copy, and I don't kind of want to. And there's just a small worry that, being at the camp out, there's a potential of rain or things, and I don't want to risk my Spirit Island.
There is going to be a copy of Spirit Island in the checkout library if you wanted to still play it. It
Excellent.
just won't be as shiny as yours.
Yeah, I might grab that and something. But I do have other games that I'll be bringing along. Some that I get, like some of my favourites that I'll be bringing along. When I get the opportunity for longer games, I've got a copy of Nucleum. I've got a copy of Five Tribes. They're really sort of good games for like longer plays. I also have a couple that they think this will be a great opportunity to play more of that I don't really play regularly. I'm thinking of I've got a copy of Crown of Ash, which was kickstarted by Card Noir. It's a area control worker placement style mixed game where you're playing as necromancers. It's really in your face, really kind of mean in its area control part of it, and I just love it to bits. But it's a 4-player only game, realistically, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've also got a copy of Merchant's Cove, which I want to play more of, and Monster Hunter World board game, which again, a couple of other big ones that'll be good to bring along and see if anyone wants to try them.
Now, I confess, a lot of these names are games I've never actually heard of. Other people may have. I consider myself an enthusiastic novice when it comes to board games. So I'm not quite sure what to focus in on. Perhaps Spirit Island, which I understand is a co-op game, something to do with defending your home from colonizing invaders.
Yeah, no, that's that's the vibe of it. It's a cooperative game playing spirits of the island. Everyone has like their spirits quite asymmetric in how they play. And you're working together to fight off the invading colonizers.
What would you say? Is there any sort of commonality in the types of games you like the degree of organizing that goes on in Euro games, or something competitive in terms of a global domination, space domination games? Or are there any particular themes that you really find yourself gravitating towards?
So thematically, when it comes to games, I'd probably describe it as I like something fun. Like I'll play something like, say, Castles of Burgundy. And Castle of Burgundy is a great game, but it's a bit dry in how its theme is. It's fundamentally its theme is a bit, to me, boring, but doesn't mean it's not a game. I gravitate more to ones like with to me, a much more interesting theme. For example, look at my shelf. I've got Lost Ruins of Arnak, which is more,
Great game.
a fantastic game, but playing it, exploring ruins, Indiana Jones style, and you've got temples and guardians and fantastic things like that. I've got Leviathan Wild, which is a co-op game where you're climbing over giant leviathans to rid them of corrupting crystals. I've got Crown of Ash that I mentioned, which is, that could have been reflavored as like your general's in an army and you're doing, but putting the necromancer flair on it and how you're raising undead minions to be your soldiers in the fight. Just the theming of that really speaks to and really is really nice.
It sounds like there's quite a lot of implied narrative in the games that you're talking about. It's in the themes, isn't it? You may only be a few steps away from structured fantasy role playing. How does that land as a comment?
Yeah, I don't think that's too far off. I mean, for me, it's more of a hook. Like, there's a little bit of, the storytelling emerging, and I've played with other people for who that's a huge part of it. But I will say that for me, it's more of like a initial hook into the game to get my interest, and the appearance and the look of it can really help sell it. But yeah, once I'm actually into the game, I do tend to be more mechanics focused, even if, as I say, the theme is a great selling point and what hooks me in originally.
I find that really interesting because one of the reasons I like board games so much is down to the theming of these things and how that manifests in the artwork, in the styling, and elements that go into how the game is structured. Do you find yourself, as you say, you find yourself kind of once you get into it, really focusing on how it's organized? Does that mean the asymmetric game with its complexity draws you in deeper, or do you like the regularity?
Yeah, definitely. I love an asymmetric game in all flavors where you've got sort of you all like my tastes tend to fall into sort of like two big camps of I've got a whole bunch of co-op games that I love playing people, but I also play a lot of them solo at home.
Yeah.
And then the sort of like the bigger, the heavier Euro games, and in particular, I do like them when there is a degree of asymmetry because I find that really adds an interesting new puzzle each time. For example, Nucleum. Nucleum, you're all kind of doing the same thing, but you all have an individual experiment board, which gives you different bonuses and different goals to aim for. So it's like a unique puzzle each time, and it's really fascinating to try and work out how you can play the mechanics to really get that to work.
That does sound cool. For a little time back, I got quite into Western Legends, which is similarly asymmetrical. I think there's about 13 different win strategies that overlapped. One of the things I liked about it is how it facilitates a different kind of interaction between all us players.
Yeah, it's lovely when you see that. I think a good one. I've never had the opportunity to play Western Legends myself. It's one that I'm aware of but never played. I'm thinking to things like that I own, like Age of Innovation, where which is a Terra Mystica style game where you've all got your own different coloured lands. So you're sort of vying for positions, and you know that this player is also vying for the same type of land as you, so you're trying to position yourself, and you're sort of having to keep in mind a little bit what other players can do so that they don't suddenly jump ahead of you by pulling out, oh, actually, I can terraform a hex 2 spaces away, and then you're like, oh, well, I won't do that.
Sounds to me, Jake, like you're a good person for anyone to try and get to know at the campout. Such a depth of knowledge of different types of games. I'll say, just across to talk across the interview a little bit to our dear listeners, if you are coming to the campout or the festival, I understand we do have a space where people will be able to give you tips and advice about games and even walk with you through our games library a bit. Laura, is that right? Is that something you can talk about?
There's nobody staffing the stash. There is, of course, as always, the volunteers in the library doing the checkout processes who can talk to you about some of the heavier games and give you advice on those. In terms of the stash, the best way to navigate games will be the games menus that are dotted around.
So the stash, for anyone who doesn't know, is a massive pile of games just laid out on 3 or 4 tables and a kind of bar. I can't remember which room that's in.
That's the activity centre.
In the activity centre. And that is a free form, help yourself, play, tidy it up and put it back type area, which is different from the library. Is that right?
Yeah. So some of the games are heavier or longer or something we wouldn't want somebody to accidentally stumble upon if they were expecting a light fluffy game, because then they wouldn't have a great time, or something that's going to be in demand, or something that's particularly precious. So we have those in a separate room where you have to check them in and out with a volunteer, leave your details, and we know where they are and that they're safe.
Jake, you know what I'd like to do, if you have time at the campout, is I'd like to meet you with the microphone in the library, and we can wander
with a
around
candlestick.
Hey.
But in
Tish.
Thank you. That's very good.
Sorry.
Yes, there was a sentence there. Yes, if possible, Jake, I'd like to meet you with the microphone in the library, and we can talk about some of the games as we row through. It looks like it'd be a great space to kind of pick your brains and see if there's anything in there you don't know.
Yeah, happy to. There are still as much as I talk at length, I mostly talk about the ones that I'm familiar with. I've a quite a ever since I got into the board gaming hobby, I have got sort of semi-obsessed with it, and I do kind of look up new games, keep an eye on what's new, and also some of the classics. I know how to play a very vast swath of games. I've got like a good knowledge, but yeah, by no means infallible, or no means played everything. For example, I think tomorrow I'm looking forward to going to play. I'll be playing Everdell for the first time, which I've played a long time ago.
Yeah.
Can I ask my questions to Jake now?
You can, of course, you can, James.
You've been sitting very patiently with your hand in the air, and Andy hasn't noticed.
Yeah, like what's up with that, Andy?
It's an auditory medium.
Oh, not again. I think we have a kind of. I think Jake, you might be the first person who's not ever come to a Strange Games before on here, and I was wondering, are you coming alone? Are you coming with people this year?
Probably coming alone, but I've got friends that are regulars, and so I'll probably just move. Most of my time will probably be spent with them.
Awesome.
But
yeah, is there anything that you are, as someone who's it's your first time, you're coming in? Is there something that you are kind of like a little bit concerned about or worried about?
No, when I'm in a group of board gamers, I can be quite good at sort of just sliding in and joining. I'll just like even if my other friends are busy with a thing, I can find if there's like a looking for group system, I can be like, oh, I can just slide in here. Don't mind me.
Do we have a looking for group system, Laura?
Of course we do, James.
Lovely.
So we've got, as always, we've got the Discord where people can chatter, but we also have those little fold-out signs that people can put on the end of the table saying, looking for players, come join us. And we sometimes, although I haven't decided on the actual mechanics of this yet, might have a spot where people can hang out at a certain time and find other people who are looking for games. TBC.
And of course, there's the age-old technique of standing up and shouting, "We need somebody to join us."
Yeah, very true.
Top comment. I was also going to say, especially in the past, when before the festival became even larger, I would occasionally just hang out around the games, looking to see what's there, and be invited. People would say, just look at you, smile, and say, "You're looking to join a game," or something like that.
You are a very popular man, Andy.
To be fair, they only do it once.
Jake, this is why I invited you on, because I need new friends.
Oh,
I'll be nice to you. See,
until you get to know me.
You know what else we very rarely talk about on here, and I'm gonna.
The weather's been good, hasn't it, James?
No, we're British. That's the first thing we talk about. We have to cut that for time. Jake, what's your camping setup going to be like?
TBC, I actually need to get on that this week and work out what the hell I'm doing.
We always give like a lot of tips and advice and talk to people about games. Very few people come on here and talk about the camping side of things, which I think I always think you need more advice than that, because that's for some people that's the biggest stumbling block to coming to Strange Games, I think.
Yeah, if you got any tips for me, I'll be more than open to them, because
boy,
my first time coming here.
Jake, strap in, my friend.
It's interesting. I think we don't talk about it as much as you might expect, because it's kind of easy at the site, because we've got all the food options you might ever want. You've got all the bathroom services you might want. You've got the shop in case you've forgotten anything. It's a lot easier than another camping site or another camping event might be. So I forget about it sometimes.
I'm not an avid camper in any way. Like quite the opposite, in fact. The only camping I've ever done has been at like Glastonbury Festival, and that's a new form of hell. This is by far the nicest kind of camping that I've done. And then I upgraded by getting a girlfriend who's incredibly smart, and she made the camping 10 times better. Firstly, what I'll say, if you've not bought your tent yet, buy a tent that's for like 2 to 4 times more people than you actually are. Like if you get like you go, I'm a one person, I get a one-man tent. There's not going to be enough space for any of your things. A one-man
Yeah.
tent is essentially a canvas coffin.
Yeah, I guess they're
Yeah.
advertised in terms of if you're going to be climbing up a mountain and all you're going to do is sleep in it. Whereas
Absolutely.
you want to
I
have
got a
enough personal
4-man
space.
tent. Best thing I ever did.
But also, we've got the tent to hire folks who will
Mhm.
put up and take down tents for you, so you can even completely avoid that portion of the camping process.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah, we like. I think what we did is we kind of made it up like a full inflatable bed, like duvet, quilt, and everything. So it felt like you were kind of cuddled up in your room. Like you can absolutely do
No.
sleeping bag if you don't want to. Like if you're worrying about liquid getting in. But like I would recommend like a nice kind of setup with pillows and stuff if you've got the car space to bring it. I always bring all my shower stuff because I shower every day because the showers are actually not that bad at the campsite.
There's actually new ones this year that are apparently
Oh,
very
yeah.
popular.
Really? Well, now I'm
Oh,
more
yes.
excited.
Ooh.
Where's James? He's in the shower.
He's been
The
there
game was
for
supposed
4
to
hours.
I think my bit of advice is come prepared in terms of it's usually colder at night than you expect. It might rain. It might be really hot sunshine. So
Yeah, and always
a rain waterproof and some sun cream and a warm sleeping bag.
force yourself to go to the toilet before you go to sleep because trying to
Fair
get
enough.
up in the middle of the night is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, you might wander into some werewolves.
And everyone who's camping leaves like these weird like trip wires like everywhere to try and like make you fall over.
Oh, head torch.
I don't know why. Head torch, yes, that's a
Head
great
torch
one
is
as
a
well.
good
Head
shout.
torch. Head torch. Top tip, head torch. James, we must bring on
Sorry.
someone, a specialist about camping.
Yes, please. For me.
That's great. Jake, is there anything else I can squeeze out of you in terms of sharing that's appropriate for the podcast before I say it?
That's a great disclaimer.
I honestly
Literally
can't
anything.
think of anything.
Yeah, all of it's
No, I can't.
inappropriate for the podcast.
Jake is brilliant. Thank you very much for coming on the show and putting up with us. I really look forward to meeting you at the campout. And if we possibly can, it'd be great to play some games and so on. And guys, come join
it'd be
us. It's going to be so much fun.
You've been listening to SGFR, the podcast radio channel for the Strange Games Festival. This season's hosts have been James, Laura, Andy and Craig. And if you'd like to come on the show, message us on the festival radio channel on the Strange Games Festival Discord server.